But there's this whole thing about, it's Metal Gear Solid is one big message, and because I'm not as thorough as a lot of people, you probably have to find a couple of videos to know the real reason why, say, Rose was an integral part of the story without people knowing. A lot of people would get annoyed between the two, and it actually goes deeper than that. I actually found this video last night that actually explained a lot. I was like, oh, okay. But it's like someone called me Johnny said in his review of the game. A lot of Metal Gear Solid 2's inside issues about life and all that sort of stuff is for Metal Gear Solid fans. It's not something you promote as a selling point, as he said. But I think what's the word I'm looking for? I think the game holds on its own, but it is more of a cutscene heavy game. But the Solid series is famous for it, in my opinion, and rightly so. And this actually feels like Metal Gear Solid 1 in a way. It actually feels like the ending. I'm trying to think if this is the same music that's played at the end of 4. I think it might be. But yeah, Metal Gear Solid, probably the greatest series ever made in terms of just everything around it. It's not very gameplay heavy, but the story is so intricate. Even though it doesn't have the gameplay time a lot of most people would consider a game, even though it hasn't got that kind of time, the gameplay isn't the thing here. It's the story, and it's given enough gameplay to say keep playing to be more into the story. It's the gameplay is a thing that will draw you in to keep playing and to keep finding out things about the series. The gameplay isn't the real thing, but it is the thing to keep it moving, and Kojima draws you in like that. And it's I so badly want to play something like Zone of the Enders or something. I know it's on backwards compatibility, but I still love this game. I think it's hard to pick a favorite between 2 and 4. And it even mentions Sony Ender in the game posters. That's funny how I was just talking about that. But yeah, I think, so like I said, I think Solid Snake is one of those absolute characters that's just it leaves a mark on you. And I think, to be fair, I think that is why a lot of people were really annoyed by this game and how Raiden was given more screen time, but Snake was he left such a mark in the first game that people wanted to keep playing as him. And that's down to Kojima as well. David Hayter is phenomenal as Snake. Absolutely phenomenal. He's quite the philosopher, isn't he? And that's Kojima's script. It works so well, and it was just such a shame that he wasn't available to do Metal Gear Solid 5. It was just, there's a hole there, I can look past it. Like I said, I can look past voice changes. It's going back to Dead Rising 4. I can handle voice changes, but what happened with Frank was so much was lost in Frank West, but there's other people, like the whole of Before the Storm voice cast for Life is Strange, Kratos, Big Boss Snake, more others. But out of all of those others, Frank West is the one that lost the hugest part of his own identity in the first place. Now, I'm not really sure what that means for Metal Gear Solid 5, but trying to sound back up.
Life isn't just about passing on your genes. We can leave behind much more than just DNA. Through speech, music, literature, and movies, what we've seen, heard, felt, anger, joy, and sorrow. These are the things I will pass on. That's what I live for. We need to pass the torch and let our children read our messy and sad history by its light. We have all the magic of the digital age to do that with.
Yep.
The human race will probably come to an end sometime, and new species may rule over this planet. Earth may not be forever, but we still have the responsibility to leave what traces of life we can. Building the future and keeping the past alive are one and the same thing.
He was born to play Snake. David Hayter, who it was. And I've missed him.
Snake, you there? It's me. I've finished going over that disk.
Did you find the Patriots list?
Of course. It contains the personal data of 12 people. There was a name on it. Snake, it was one of our biggest contributors.
What's going on around here?
I don't know.
Anyway, where are they?
Well, we were right about them being on Manhattan, but
But what?
they're already dead. All 12 of them.
When did it happen?
Well, about 100 years ago.
Dun dun dun.
What the hell?
Oh, yes. Alright. So, a full play time of 9 hours, 42 minutes and 3 seconds. Saved 7 times, continued 10 times, which actually isn't bad. Actually, so we only died and failed 10 times. Alert mode only 23. Says 67 people killed. Yeah, it'll probably be in the gun sections. 25 rations used. A cut above his achievement. Jaguar is the code name. Not really sure what that is. I think that might be New Game Plus, I'm not sure. Alright, so that's it. For the playthrough of Metal Gear Solid 2. It's still one of my favorite games of all time. But it's hard to pick 2 and 4. It really is. It really is. But that's a good thing. Because it really just proves how great. Do you know what? I think it proves how great the series was. The series, the Metal Gear Solid series, is one of the greatest series I've ever played. And now that I've played all of them, I understand so much about what this game told in its messages and how it talks about things. I understand all of it now, you know? And that's why I did the Metal Gear Solid Marathon back in 2013. That's why I did it. Because it was, you know, looking at it at face value, it's not been completely destroyed. I think 5 was an unfortunate situation. Now, I don't know the whole story behind it, but I feel 5 was an unfortunate situation that it never really got finished. And I don't think that's the fault of the game. I don't think the game can be considered the you know, because so many games over the last couple of years have been the destroyers of series. I don't think Metal Gear Solid 5 fits that category. I think it's more of an unfortunate situation because the whole relationship between Konami and Kojima broke down, and yeah, and that's not the fault of the game. That's the fault of Konami for not letting him finish it to start with. But that's a whole discussion that, you know, that's not really, you know, loyal fans of Kojima will say their stuff, and I'm on board with that because I do believe that. I believe Kojima put Konami on the map with his Solid games. Could Konami have done it themselves? Maybe. You know, I'm not saying they could have done it without him, but he was a big reason that they were one of the renowned studios in gaming at one point. He was the reason. His Metal Gear Solid games were the reason for that. And to treat him like they did, it just isn't right. It doesn't sit right with me. And it never will. I love the series he curated. And even though I never played the classic games, and even though 2 was my entry point, I had no idea pre-teen what they were even talking about. The Metal Gear Solid Marathon in 2013 was just, I had to take that opportunity. And I'm glad I did, but I always wanted to go back and give these playthroughs direct capture kind of treatment. You know, the only way I can really do it without having to spend so much money would be if the Legacy Collection, for example, came out on PS4. Why? Why is it not on PS4? It's perfect. The Legacy Collection has to be ported to PS4. It has to. It has to. And even if that does happen in the future someday, I'm not going to do these again. You know, I'm going to leave them there, even though they're on the Xbox One. I wanted to take those, and I'm just going to leave them there. You know, it's not like what I'm doing with The Walking Dead and stuff like that. You know, with The Walking Dead and with Life is Strange, I'm doing it because those playthroughs were a mess. You know, those playthroughs were a mess. They were on all sorts of Life is Strange not so much, but The Walking Dead in particular was a mess, and Borderlands was a mess. Game of Thrones was a mess, and it was a mess because of my own doing. You know, when I was playing those games, I started out on the Xbox One, and then went digital. Went to the PS4, I got a different capture card because my one wasn't working. Yeah, it was just all over the place. And I wanted to put them in their own unique thing, you know? And with The Walking Dead, we still don't know if it'll get finished or not. You know, we still don't know. We still don't know. It's not 100% confirmed. And I don't think it's going to be coming out at the end of this year. If they do it, I think it will be coming out at next year, maybe even late next year. So much they need to sort out with that. But if that is the case, then I will leave these playthroughs as they are. This is the last time I will play through 2 and 3. I will not do a PS4 version. There's no point to it. The only reason I'm doing this is because there is no PS4 version. You know. But it doesn't mean, like, if the Legacy Collection is ported to PS4 at some point, or even Xbox maybe, I don't know. But whatever it is on, I will do 1 and 4. And I want to. Why they haven't, I have no idea. Because it would sell. It would sell. A lot of people. That's why remasters have been such a trend on the PS4. They've been such a trend because so many people missed out on the PlayStation 3. Last gen, everyone and their mother had an Xbox 360. It was the cheaper option. It had the better online, and yeah, it just won out. But this gen has been a total 180 flip. You know, PS4 is on top, and that's why they remastered all these games. There's so much I want to say, but it would end up turning into videos I'm not very good at doing. You know what I mean? I was mumbling all through that credits, trying to. It's very complex. The Metal Gear Solid series is complex. Even for I'm not the smartest tool in the shed. You know, even I can't dissect this. A lot of people can. A lot of people are Metal Gear Solid buffs, and they can understand everything. I just can't, because it's just so much that my brain can't handle. But I love it for that. And I am so glad. I stumbled upon Metal Gear Solid 2. My uncle owned it on the PlayStation 2. He owned it, and we were up in Newquay for like a couple of weeks, and it was all I played, but I never beat it. And then a few years later, my mom actually gets Metal Gear Solid 2 out of nowhere, and I am psyched because I wanted to finish the game because it was just that good. But it took me many years later to fully understand what Kojima was doing. And it's just the genius of the man. It really is. And that's what angers me about the whole thing with Konami. That's why it angers me so much. This last video has probably gone on forever. I've probably split it. It depends. But yeah, Metal Gear Solid 2 as a game is just as good as all the others. There's no one Metal Gear Solid game that is outright great to me. 4's ending is insanely great, but 2 has my favorite gameplay. That's what I would say. 1 is a great... 1 you have to play absolutely as an entry point. 2 has, in my opinion, the best gameplay. 3 has changes that you can understand for the time it's in. And 4 has the best story, at least in tying up sense. But in my opinion, it has the best ending I've ever experienced in my whole entire life, and probably ever to do that, because that's just the genius of Hideo Kojima, really. Alright, so that is it for the Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty HD playthrough. Hope you guys will enjoy it. I will see you obviously for Metal Gear Solid 3 in sometime in the future. I might make it a November thing, because I'm going to be not spending anything in November. It depends when I get the journey finished, really. But I'll let you know if there's any changes to that. That's what my social media is for, even though I don't really use it for that yet, because my channel is nowhere near as big as, say, Bash. So I don't really have much reason to be as active there yet, but you guys know what I mean. So hope you enjoyed this. I did, well, yeah, of course I did, because I love the game. Also, obviously, Snake Eater will happen, and of course some other things. Obviously December is the release of Smash, so yes. But anyway, that's far away in, not so far away in the future by this video, but today it's still just over 2 months to release, so yeah. Anyway, I'm just mumbling like an idiot. I'll go now and save you guys listening to me anymore. Hope you enjoyed this, as I did, and I will see you obviously with Metal Gear Solid 3 and other stuff planned, of course.